Welcome to the Ultimate Box Squatting Tutorial. In this video, you will learn everything you need to know about performing a box squat safely and for maximum performance. So without further ado, let's get started. So before you learn how to box squat, I'm going to give you a basic demonstration on how to perform the exercise. Because there's a very large chance that if you've been doing a lot of free squatting in the past, or if you're new to lifting in general, you do not know how to box squat. Because the box squat is very different from a free squat. Many people think that it's just a regular squat done off a box. But no, that is completely not true. For many reasons. Number one, you see that I am sitting down on the box, relaxing some muscles, and then exploding back up. In a free squat, you are simply using the stretch reflex, bouncing back and forth. Secondly, my stance is extremely wide. It's not a close stance or an Olympic style squat. It's very, very wide. And most importantly, I am sitting all the way back and I am shoving the knees out. If you were to attempt this in a free squat, you would fall straight on your ass or you would not be able to go below parallel. So the box squat is beneficial because you get to develop your posterior chain in a very meaningful way. And then finally, because you are breaking up the eccentric and concentric chain, it builds explosive power like no other. So this is the basic box squat. Let me now dive into the various nuances. We will begin by analyzing the hand positioning. So many people, they grab it incorrectly. What you have to do is assume a wide stance. If you assume a wide stance, you will remove a lot of shoulder and elbow pain. And look at my hand positioning. I am not grabbing it with a thumb under grip. It is a thumb over grip, a suicide grip. This is how you alleviate pressure off the joints. This is the wrong way of doing it. You take a close stance, you bend the wrist all the way back, or even all the way forward. Let me show you another incorrect manner. A medium grip, bending the wrist back. That's not what you want. Instead, you want a wide stance, keeping that back very tight. I'm going to show you one more time. Wide stance, getting right under it, and my hands are cupped over. Cupped over will keep you safe. That is how you do it for hand positioning. Next up, bar height. Many people screw this up. They bring the bar too low or too high. I'm going to show you the proper way to do it. It should be right in the middle of your chest, right under the upper chest, if I may be more precise. Right over here. All right, you don't want it too high, too low. This is the wrong way of doing it, as you're about to see. That is not correct. It is way too high. You're gonna have trouble unracking it, and once you're done your set, when you try re-racking the bar, you're not gonna be able to do it. It's gonna be way too heavy. Here's another way of not doing it properly. The bar is too low, so now you gotta bend all the way down, and you just gotta lose all the strength coming out. No, it's not an Anderson squat. It's a box squat. Make sure the height is right above the chest. All right, bar positioning now. So in this program, or the way that you're doing the box squat, the way I recommend is a high bar positioning. This is because if you do a low bar, when you try coming off the box, your body's gonna tilt all the way forward like a good morning, and you might fall over. So I recommend a high bar. That's a low bar. What you want is a high bar. You understand? Breathing. Breathing is very simple. You'll be using the Valsalva maneuver, which keeps your lower back and abs tight. So let's look right into it. I'm getting under the bar. I deep breath it. Deep breath. Okay, this is keeping my entire midsection tight. So I step back. I'm still holding the breath. I take another deep breath, and I begin squatting. Again, deep breath. Deep breath. At the top, you can breathe if you want, but whenever you perform the movement, you always want to have the deep breath. This is what powerlifters use. This is what keeps you safe in the long term. It's what maximizes your performance. Now, here's the wrong way of doing it. You may have heard this in the gym. Exhale the force, inhale the negative. This is completely wrong, and if you try doing this on squats, you're going to feel your lower back hurting a lot, and you're going to get injured in the near future, especially if you're handling extremely heavy weights. So as you can see, I'm breathing, I'm doing on the way up. That's not how you perform a box squat, or just a regular squat in general. It's completely incorrect. Next up, foot stance. With a box squat, you want a wide grip. So you want to start by backing up with a close stance, and then you gradually widen it. That's what you want. Wide stance. Your feet should be outside of your elbows. You're sitting all the way back. It becomes like a leg curl, if you will. The shins are past perpendicular. You're not bending at the knees. You're not using a medium grip. This is the wrong way. Close grip. Again, it's not Olympic style squat. That's not what you're looking for. This is not a quad dominant exercise. We're trying to load the posterior chain with as little knee bend as possible. Again, a medium stance will not suffice. You have to do this with a wide stance. Make sure your feet are right outside your elbows, and you'll be in a perfect position to box squat. So it's a wide stance. I'm sitting all the way back, knees out, coming right back up. Next up, the knees. What do you do with the knees? Very simple. At the bottom, this is not what you do. You don't want to cave your knees in. That's going to give you some knee tendonitis. It's going to get you injured. Instead, you want to, boom, shove it right out. Shove the knees out and come up. Do not come off the bench by flexing at the quads. Do not do that. okay? It's posterior chain. You come up by shoving your knees out. You shove the knees out, you spread the floor with your feet. This is how you box squat correctly. This is not correct. You see my knees are caving in? That is not what you want to do, ever. Not on a box squat, all right? If you were doing an Olympic style squat, it might be acceptable. But for a box squat, your knees got to be out all the way. Again, you're flexing it out. Boom. Good girl, bad girl. It's really that simple. Next, the box height. This is the most common issue that people have. They're putting the box way too high. What you want to do is keep it low. So, look at this. The crease of the hip is below the top of the knee. This is the correct positioning. You don't want it to be above this. Let me show you a back angle. From the back, it's easier to see. The crease of the hip is below the top of the knee. Nothing more simple than that. If you are too high, you're going to end up box squatting a lot more than you can free squat. For example, this is too high. You can see that my knees are pretty low and my ass is rather high. This is not the correct way to box squat. The crease of the hip has to be below the top of the knee. And for most people, that's going to be around a 12-inch box. Another mistake, people use benches. The bench, 99% of the time, if you're not a really tall dude, it's going to be too high. This is not the correct way to box squat, especially if you bring your knees all the way forward and use a close stance. It's going to be too easy. You'll be able to lift over 500 with this approach. Not cool. And then, there's another mistake. Some people, they like to go ATG. Again, this is not an Olympic style squat. It has to be the crease of the hip below the top of the knee. That's simple. Nothing higher, nothing lower. If you do that, then it's a different variation. But for the standard box squat, it's got to be crease of the hip below top of the knee. Do I make myself clear? This is not good. ATG is not good. All right, this is not how you box squat. Period. Next, I'm going to dispel some common mistakes. Very common issues. A lot of people send this to me on form requests. So first of all, we have the most common mistake of all time, bending the knees forward. This is not a box squat. Okay, this is a regular free squat done off a box. Not cool. You're cheating the movement. It's supposed to be posterior chain, not quad dominant. You see, I'm using the knees here. Not cool. Not cool. It has to be posterior chain. Sit back. Sit at back. Bring your knees to the back. Here's another mistake. People do the good morning. This is what I said earlier about flexing with the quads. Don't flex with the quads. Shove the knees out and keep your back upright. Don't good morning it. Not cool. Another mistake. People, they do touch and go. Again, this is not a free squat. You are not using the stretch reflex. Some muscles have to be partially relaxed. Next, some people, they do this crap. They do this with the lower back. Listen, a little bit of butt wink is fine. It's always going to happen to a certain degree. Even with good form, it's going to happen. But not like this. You shouldn't be rounding into it. You shouldn't be sitting back and rounding into it. No, keep the back tight. So once more, this is proper form. Wide stance, unrack. I walk backwards, wide stance, and now I'm sitting all the way back, knees out. There's no good morning shit. There's no lower back rounding. I'm using the Valsalva maneuver every single rep, and this is how you box squat perfectly. So start working on that box squat and watch as your posterior chain blows up right before your very eyes. Watch as you become more explosive. But this is how you do it. This is not a free squat. So I hope this tutorial has been useful for you. If you're running my novice program, and let me know how it goes for you. And with that, I will talk to you next time.